Hey guys, Scott here, and today, or tonight, I guess, I want to go over why Elden Ring's PvP slowed down so much faster than any other Souls game in the series, despite having way more players. Just kind of, I wanted to like segue into why I've been making less Elden Ring videos as well. It's not even that I don't want to; it's that there's no one to even play with really anymore, and it's kind of a struggle to find people to actually invade. And then only doing duels over and over and over again gets kind of tiring. So I just want to explain why I'm playing it less and why this game, I'm not going to say died off. I'm just going to use the term slowed down so quickly compared to, the last main Souls game, we'll say Dark Souls 3. And there's a lot of different reasons. Now, the first main thing, the main obvious thing, is most people just don't care about PvP. Most people play these games just for the PvE for good reason. They're incredible. PvP is definitely the minority. So if, let's say 15 million people bought the game, probably 100,000 people will actually PvP, and probably only half of those will actually want to continue to PvP. So it's definitely in the minority, and it's always been like that, and that's totally fine. But that should carry over. In Dark Souls 3, it was still the minority as well. However, there was still way more connectivity in that game. So that's not really the issue, although it is something worth mentioning. So first thing I'm going to go over is the connection issues. On PC, I had to stop playing on PC entirely. I had to just give up because on PC, like every 2 minutes in any multiplayer session whatsoever, you would just get disconnected. Whether you're invading, dueling, or co-oping, whatever. Any multiplayer session, you would just get disconnected. And they said they fixed this, but I haven't even checked. I've heard people in my chat say that it's not fixed. It's a little bit better, but it still happens quite a bit. But that has a very unfortunate side effect of making people not really want to co-op because every time they try, all they're doing is buffing the boss, but it's not making it any easier because their friends just disconnect immediately. Now, the obvious side effect of that is, well, if there's no co-op sessions because they keep disconnecting, well, then we have no one to invade because you can only invade active co-op sessions, and if they're all disconnecting, there's no one to invade. And because of that, there's that co-op mod, which honestly alleviated the extremely annoying issue of the disconnect, but then it has the exact same side effect of, well, there's still no one to invade because of that. So connection issues resulting in the need for the co-op mod is a very big component into why there are not really that many co-op sessions to even invade for that portion of the actual PvP. Another thing is kind of like the player limit. Because there's only 4 people allowed in any world, there's a lot less available fun things to do, in my opinion, especially like big Covenant area battles. Like even things like dueling. Like dueling is still kind of okay. Like there's still signs, and you'll probably be able to see summon signs for duels for quite some time. But even duels are slowing down much quicker than they did in Dark Souls 3. And I played Dark Souls 3, the same amount of time after it came out as well. So I have a pretty good frame of reference. But the things that make Dark Souls 3 kind of have more interesting combat and more interesting community PvP aspects was fight clubs. If you're not aware of fight clubs, they're basically, you can have like 6 people in the world at once. So a host would just summon a bunch of red phantoms and they'd all fight each other, and then all the other red phantoms would just sit there and watch while 2 people fought, and it was like a cool experience. It was like a gladiator arena, and you'd watch people fight, and then when someone died, someone else would jump down, then they would fight, and so on and so forth. The host would keep summoning, and it was a really fun way to tide people over until the DLC eventually came out that had an actual official arena with a queue system and stuff like that. We don't really have that. So basically, we don't really have invasions anymore, except in a very, very select few areas. And even then, they're slowing down, at least anecdotally for me. Maybe they're great for you, but I've been, streaming for the past 4 months, and they have slowed down painfully. So we pretty much only have duels, and then even those are slowing down because people are not as excited. There's no fight clubs and things like that, and we don't have anything to tide us over until allegedly the DLC will have arena stuff based on data mining and stuff like that. We can all hope, because that will bring a lot of PvP back, but we are just sort of hoping right now and waiting with no real fun even dueling thing to do because fight clubs have been kind of destroyed. So no arena is definitely a big component to that, and we have nothing to tide us over until an arena comes out. The other big thing is that there's no covenants. There's no there's no dark moons. There's no swamp battles. There's no pontiffs, giant wars and stuff like that. There's just none of that stuff. And I think that's a huge detriment, and it's also kind of ties into the player limit as well. But there's no like PvP areas. And there's been a PvP area basically in every Souls game. This is like the first one that did not have a PvP area. Even fucking Bloodborne had a PvP area in the Nightmare area. So this is pretty much the first Souls game that just does not really have a dedicated PvP area. And I think that's a huge shame because those areas were very exciting. And people that like PvP could hang around there. People that didn't like PvP could just blitz through it as quick as they could. But it still created a more fun dynamic in an area that was basically like a giant open world arena to some extent. Speaking of open world, the fact that the game is open world is a huge component into why invasions have slowed down to a crawl. Because you have so many people split on so many different areas, so many different sections of the map at different levels, literally different levels underground or above ground. There's dungeons in those areas, and they all have their own separate invasion, like proximity-based invasion system. Now, that system worked in something like Dark Souls 3, where it's a fairly linear game. It had a couple of hub areas, but it's a fairly linear game. And so players are going to be in the areas that you're railroading them to go. And because of that, there's areas to invade, and pretty frequently. But when you have a game that's as spread out as this, you just can't possibly have ethnough people to invade because they're just so scattered amongst the entire map. And there's no Wex Dust, which was a modded Dark Souls thing that basically lets you invade from one area. It would invade you in every area in the entire game. The fact that this game does not have something like that blows my mind. How did they not see the problem with the same invasion system that they had in the other Souls games with a world that's 10 times as big? Like, how did they not see that as a problem? And it's such an easy fix, too. You just have some shrine somewhere that says, oh, the fingers are going to invade, blah, 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 blah. You just kneel at the thing, and then it invades, it searches to people and to invade everywhere. That's it. Just have a big queue of everyone possible to invade in your level in that area on their servers, and that's it. It's like really easy to do, so much so that modders have already done it. I don't know why that is not in the game. It doesn't make any sense for a complete open world like that. So that was a huge, huge miss, and I really hope they add something like that for the DLC, because I really think it needs it. Obviously, another huge thing is just the balance of the game. When you actually do get to PvP, the balance is so ridiculously terrible that even the experiences you do have are typically not that great. Bloodhound Step is still exactly how it is, and it is the most broken thing I've ever seen in a Souls game, not even just for PvE. For PvE, it's incredibly broken. The entire core concept of Souls combat is learning boss and enemy movesets and timing your rolls accordingly and knowing when you can punish them. That is literally the entire game in terms of the actual gameplay itself, not the exploration and stuff. And Bloodhound Step just says, fuck it. You don't have to do any of that. Just press the button. Just it doesn't matter. So the fact that that is still the exact same and hasn't been changed whatsoever is pretty depressing. There's also the factor of it's just not getting patched like at all. We've had one patch in 4 months that actually did PvP related things. And even then, they weren't primarily based on PvP related things. They were just PvE things that tangentially happened to affect PvP as well. We had one patch before that, but it was like, Sword of Night and Flame and Hoarfrost Stomp. Just shit, it's PvE stuff. It doesn't affect PvP at all. So we've really only had one PvP patch in 4 months since the game came out. And for a game as incredibly broken as this in terms of balance, I think that's just not enough. I think it needs to be more than that. And I'm sure more patches are coming, and I'm sure it'll be great, because the last patch they did was really good. We just need more of it. It's just, everything is just stale and the same. It's the exact same thing. It got to the point the past month, all I was doing is invading in the first step every single day, going against the same gang squads every single time. It's just, even though it was still fun, if you do something that's fun for a long time, it just starts becoming not fun. It's just, you need something to mix it up. And the fact that there have just been basically no patches this whole time has been, a little disappointing. And I don't think there's any announcements of DLC. We have no idea when that's even going to be. It seems like it's, still several months out. So we're in this kind of lull period where there's just not really much to do unless you're doing like the co-op mod or challenge runs and stuff like that. And that's a shame, because I was enjoying myself. Elden Ring, I still hold the opinion, is the best game I've ever played. I have so many incredible things to say about it, and I wish there was more to do. That being said, I played like 1,000 hours of Elden Ring in like 3-4 months, which is a lot. I played the shit out of this game, so it could just be something as simple as burnout, but even burnout doesn't explain the fact I can't invade people anymore. I can't even physically play the game. So it's a combination of that. But in terms of why I'm stopping for now until there's DLC and things like that, that is why I've been slowing down the Elden Ring content. And those are most of the reasons why this game's PvP has slowed down so drastically, so quickly compared to other Souls games, despite having a much, much larger player base. That's it. I'm sure I missed a bunch of other little things, but I just wanted to go over that, inform people why I've been slowing down. And that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.